So I guess,
We
I just don't, I just,
definitely
and these increased revenues, I guess it's that, we're doing it again, I mean,
We definitely don't anticipate redoing the park plan from start to finish. It really is revisioning the community. This is a very different community than it was in 2000, 2004, 2008. It is there's a lot of new residents in this community. They have a different list of ideas and thoughts and priorities. And so that's why we want to spend a lot of our effort in going through that community process. Where the rubber will hit the mat, literally, is what can this community afford? So besides looking at McCormick Park, we're also going to add a new chapter called Operation and Maintenance of our existing facilities, and then project out when those new projects come in, what they are, so that we can have a better idea, because it's difficult to pay for parks. It's general fund, REIT, park impact fee, and grants.
And we can only be used for capital for building, not for
and
maintenance.
that,
Yeah.
and I think that's the other aspect that I guess we'd like to see is that whole, that like, truth in the dollars, not truth, there hasn't been truth, but just that clarity of that these capital projects, while there's a proportional responsibility of new development, it still leaves a huge portion of that responsibility that is all of our responsibility to fund, and that there's costs associated with that, and that everyone's on board. And I love, the Big Rock was a great example, a great way to move forward and say, hey, this is what it's gonna cost, this is what we're gonna do, and everybody was stoked about it. And we see that in King County, and there's a lot of positive movement to fund things we want, like sound transit or whatever it is. But so we don't, the scope doesn't get so huge that it's unattainable by everyone. But I guess that's now we're talking about comp plans, but
I couldn't
that's my
agree with you
concern.
more. That's why I'm a proponent of updating that plan, because I think we have to go back and take the temperature check and look and see what can we do. You know, can we look at resources differently? Do we have better partnerships? Do we have bonds, levies, a parks board? Like, you know, we don't technically have a parks board right now. And so at what point, you know, are we growing towards that future? And you haven't even talked about, you know, you don't have a parks department for operation and maintenance. So there's a lot that's going to come that was not addressed in the last park management and space plan. Planning finished? Thank you. Thank you.
And finally, we have the cultural commission budget with city administrator Matt Martin.
well, I see that. I mean, I was.
All right, from parks to cultural commission. So we had a part-time coordinator for the DCC. That didn't work out very well. It did not serve the needs of the community or the cultural commission. So ostensibly since June, I have been the secretary and liaison, other duties as assigned. I have been the support person for the cultural commission, which has been great. It's a great opportunity to work with them and talk and get some visioning going. So what we did a few weeks back is we did a visioning exercise. And it's not an official updating of the mission, but one thing the DCC wanted to share with you is how they view how they view the DCC, how they view that arm of the city. And it's nourishing partnerships, it's empowering the richest of Duvall and its residents, and they really focused on this. They want to be the heart of Duvall. That was really their goal. We are the heart of Duvall, recognizing they need to be focused on the quality of the projects they bring forward, and more importantly, as to them understanding economics in the city and understanding your guys' wishes, at least in the past, is how sustainable can these things be, and how do we transition these things to a position of sustainability. And when we say sustainability, financial, purely financial terms, not not anything else. What the DCC wanted you folks in the community to know is that they want to be and are community engagement focused. They've had some challenges, again, with the staff disconnect, and they were down to 3 members, now they're up to 5, which is fantastic. But they're not just summer stage, they do a lot of arts and events in the community. They want to be an incubator of new ideas and events, and to that point, I think they've taken some new roads by supporting the March of the Vegetables, and I think that support's going to grow over the next year in the way they help push that event and help energize that event. In fact, one of the people, I believe is the person who led that effort, Betsy, is now on the Cultural Commission, so that's great. And then they're also looking, when I say that, as an incubator, not just writing checks. They've worked with the chamber to churn over the Art and Wine Walk, and now they're helping facilitate an expansion of the Art and Wine Walk. They're very excited about the Main Street project because they envision people being able to walk all across the river to the park, down to the other side of town, have a wine tasting event, and really connect town. So from that standpoint, fantastic. And they have the ability and the knowledge through the Cultural Commission and through their contacts throughout the community. They recognize good events, they know what they think they have a handle on, what the community wants, but they're always trying to go out and identify what the community wants, needs, and desires are from the Cultural Commission. I didn't do those transitions like I said I would. So it's 0118 in your budget book. But can I have yours just in case I need it? That's a tough question, thank you. And we made some budget considerations in working with the DCC. So we brought the budget to them this year. Again, we were the liaison. In fact, it was myself, the mayor, and Mayor Pro Tem. We sat with the DCC and said, where do you guys want to be? Where do you want to go? How can we help support the Cultural Commission? And what message can we relay to council on behalf of you in the community? So the first thing is getting that consistent administrative staff help that they need. You will find that in their budget. That's proposed. Helping them to continue to build community relationships and partnerships with the Arts Center, with the Chamber of Commerce, which again has taken over now 2 events that traditionally were under the auspices of the DCC. And these events have fully transitioned over to your summer guide and it's your Art and Wine Walk. So the city's no longer funding those things, which you had told me when I first started was a metric of success. Those are fully being funded by private fundraising and the chamber, so that's a good transition. That goes in line with freeing up capital resources. They want to free up their capital, so you'll see their budget organized a little differently on here, and you might not have got the update on your book yet. To allow them to free up and program, now that they have 5 members, and they're hopefully in tune to get their other 2, they really want to take some time to spend looking at what they're doing, what they could be doing, and bring new creativity and bring new energy to the DCC. And of course, they're asking us to help us, the city, to go ahead and, one of the requests that you would, and it is programmed in your budget, to set aside the $40,000 for the main stage, and you will have at your next council meeting, and I'm working with the DCC on this, you'll have a very draft proposal for your review for an RFP for we're calling it the main stage sponsorship. So all those pieces are kind of in motion, and we're trying to get those moving forward. So, as you know, if people who don't know what the community expects and receives, I think our flagship events have, even ones that have spun off or started with DCC and have spun off, Sandblast, Summer Stage, Duvall Days, again, there's something else now that's really transitioned. The Chamber's done a phenomenal job the last 2 years. So DCC is seeing themselves as the focus of promotion of music, of art, of heritage, of community engagement, and they want to support and work more with planning this year on the public arts program and see more visible art in public spaces. And they want to be a locus for bringing things together. And they understand the dynamic of arts and art engagement, art education, or its events as an economic development tool. So I think they're really focusing on seeing how they can make that happen. So big accomplishments, just going to talk real high level over, I think, what I shared with them I would bring forward to you tonight. They understand, recognize, and appreciate the partnership with Rotary, not just the financial piece, but that the beer and wine gardens are very popular to the Summer Stage event series, really adds a nice layer to that, as well as the food opportunities. And then we can continue to see those things grow and expand to support and add more momentum and mass to the events. They have seen an increase in most of the programs, which continues to happen. We had great weather too this summer, which was awesome. They're really trying to increase their visibility with Folk Culture, because King County Folk Culture is right now one of the biggest municipal or government funding agencies for arts and cultural opportunities. They've worked really hard and in supporting the Raise the Stage funding, Cass and a group are still involved with that, but so is the DCC, in making sure they can raise through grants and contributions the matching funds to purchase the new stage. And again, they want to continue to expand programs and see the commission come back to full strength. Up to 5 members, they need 7. Those are all great accomplishments as they move forward in 2017. I'm sorry, I never stopped at any slides. Any questions?
So what is the criteria for being able to be on the DCC?
I have no idea. That's a great question.
Because if we knew, we could learn, try to recruit.
We have the
people.
advertising on the website. And the reason I say you don't know is because there was like sort of like the planning commission, but not to that level. There was X amount of business owners, X amount of, and I don't recall what the ratio is right now. I just don't know. So as far as the 2018 proposed budget, very similar. In fact, as far as resources go, it's more or less an analog to their existing budget. What you'll notice different is summer stage advertising is off the books now. That money that we used to spend, we're not spending that anymore. We still pay for the contracted music licenses. And so any event that has a DJ or a live band or playing music on the radio that's a sponsored event, we are complying with federal law. We don't get in trouble. We actually purchase music licenses through 2 companies and covers pretty much every song catalog. The way law works is it's the venue that's responsible for the license and not the musician, because the venue is static. The venue could be policed. The band could be gone tomorrow. So if someone shows up, an inspector, they tell us there's inspectors out that check for these things, and they came, it would be the venue. So if we are sponsoring, like when we did music nights at the Grill or something, that the venue has to be covered by that music license. So all of the DCC and city venues are covered by our music licenses. Ironically enough, when we did the music clips and the PD videos, if you saw those on the Facebook page from Back to the Future and all that, covered by our music license. And I said, how can you do that? Are you going to get in trouble? No, we licensed the music for non-commercial. So we were lucky there.
Where is that on there? Or how much is that?
$1,100.
That's crazy.
Yeah. If you want to do movies, it's way crazier.
Yeah, it's big bucks.
The licensing is really difficult. So moving on, sorry. Summer stage, traditionally you have seen that budget at $18,000, and what happened was the city put the commitment up front and said, okay, we're going to put $18,000 out, and then it was incumbent upon the DCC and the event organizers to raise about $8,000 to pay the delta of that event, and we collect. And what we're finding is they're raising way more than that. So this year it was almost $12,000 they raised, and rather than try to do this mental accounting math and reserve numbers, we talked to them and said, hey, why don't we put the amount the city actually literally needs to contribute every year and get that amount down to what the bare bones are this year, and hopefully next year we reevaluate it again, that amount can continue to sunset, and that delta we're going to put incumbent on the DCC and the groups and say, we know you need to raise that, go raise it. That's what it's going to take to raise the event, and they're fine with that. Part of what they'd like to see, and I think it's fair, is if it costs them an additional $8,000 and they rent 11 and they raise 11, they'd like to put that 3 back into arts programming. So that's a proposal they're making to you. Hey, we'll do the work. When we have a situation like that, like this year, can we plug it right back into arts funding? So that's a pitch they're making. I think it's fantastic. And then what you'll see, which is really different, aside from the Cascade Theater Re-Grant, which is pretty typical, it's been going on for a while, support community theater and arts events through the valley with the junior high and high school kids and younger. And the poetry reading, all the other events categories have been plugged into just one line item that for now says Duvall Cultural Commission expenses. And that's because part of the visioning exercise we did was, what do they want to really start investing in? What's going to be dynamic, appealing to the community, appealing to the Cultural Commission, appealing to the other sponsors and the For Arts group, For Culture group, and what's going to have interest. So they proposed a documentary movie night with a speaker before or after the movie. Those are popular. They've looked at a budget, and they're going to work through these events this year as one of their goals as their budget process unfolds early in the year, and their new staff person gets plugged in. And they want to really serve the community and say, what do you want? Do you want that? Do you want cultural history heritage? Do you want, and so they're looking at these arts and engagement types of events that are popular and that might have traction and a really good reception here. So what we've done is said, okay, for now, the proposal to the council is going to be freeing up, but it won't be pegged to all the 10, 15 line items, 500 here, 1,000 here, because they want to take the time to reevaluate and make sure that they're putting the resources and programming events that are worthwhile. And they've got some phenomenal ideas, a lot of energy, and we had several storyboards done. They've got some wonderful ideas they want to start looking at on how they can take advantage of other resources and energy and ideas to continue to dust off and look at what they do, which I think is really great. And then what you'll see here, which is similar, it's just put in this category now, event support staff, services, that is their budget for the staff person, the halftime staff person, which was traditionally used to be a contract person, and maybe again, but allocating those resources for the DCC to have that administration person, which shows less the delta in the summer stage, what the total contribution was, which would have been similar to that 62 when you readjust everything. And then if you do continue to keep in the budget the refunding of 40,000 for the main stage purchase, the Duvall main stage purchase, what we're calling it, there's in essence your total commitment in 18 to arts and culture in the community is about $83,000.
Will you take back to them that Michael Ward, who is the communications consultant for the school district, used to lead the documentary film series Incarnation, and they could get a lot of information from him.
Okay, sure.
Because we used to have it down at Miller's Incarnation, and then we would have a speaker come in afterwards. You've done it a couple times, yeah. So they would have, what they'd do is after the Academy Awards, they would take all the documentaries that were nominated, and they'd look at each one, accumulating with the Oscar winner.
Okay.
And then they'd have people come in and talk about it, and it was incredibly interesting.
Yeah, they really rolled out a neat idea of doing that, and it'd be the time for the speaker and then time for community dialogue.
Yeah.
People are there, if it's a challenging idea or event in the movie, talk through the issues, and they've really been thinking. And
They had donations
That's
of
neat
food
stuff.
at bank. You had,
Oh, wow.
each documentary, you had to bring a different, something for a food bank, or something for the senior center, or diapers for Acres of Diamonds. So it not only that, it helped the other nonprofits in town. So it was just thrown together, but it was really, really good. Some of the best things I've ever seen were through that series.
Sorry.
So in terms of event support, would that come out of an existing FTE, would that be a new hire?
That would be a new hire, but the money comes out of the existing allocated money. So there was money every year since I've been here, when you've allocated about, on paper, about $23,000. The first sheriff's rate was actually way more significant of a commitment than that, but then factor in over time, just the way it works. So what we did was take the 17 proposal and roll it over to say, look at about $21 an hour, you get a halftime person. If it winds up being contract, or if it winds up being blended with an existing resource, then that mileage may go further or less. And that's something that I'll be looking, once we get the allocation, be looking to the new mayor and new council to decide, hey, how do you want to see this roll out? How's this best going to work? There are two questions, you guys can fight it.
I was just going to make a comment. A few years ago, we asked for a budget out for the Cultural Commission to start raising more money and working to be self-sustainable with the city support. And they've definitely been doing that. And I have to say, being involved in this process in the last few months, it's really exciting to see the new members come in with so many awesome ideas. And in fact, for example, with Betsy, that she not only just came up with a new idea last year, but executed it very well and successfully, and have that energy coming in to really diversify the events in town is super exciting to see. So, as we've gone through this process, it's been definitely something to look forward to in the future with DCC, and seeing how they're growing and changing and being able to make things sustainable and possible.
So my question is, we at one time had a part-time,
Yes.
and then this year we tried something different that didn't quite work out.
Yes.
So we're moving back to a part-time person. Is that what we're proposing here?
Maybe.
Maybe.
So what we're trying to do is allocate the funding. The reason being is, I think the DCC is still working on their vision of who and how they want that person. They want more continuity than what they've had. And then depending on what budget winds up getting adopted and what resources we have, different people might get redeployed differently to serve the organization. There's always those things that I just don't know yet. It's so early. But what we wanted to do, what the DCC wanted to communicate is they need somebody predominantly, and it's funny how those hours work, as you guys know, it's going to be really busy in the summertime, just like with CAS, June, July, August, huge amount of time to get everything done, and then we'll let them flow based off events and things like that. So I don't know if I answered your question, but I just don't know how it's going to
I guess my question is, you did kind of, yes. And I guess my other question would be then, it would be nice to know if someone, the leadership of whoever's leader would bring the proposal forward to say, here's what we need as a commission for the part-time person, so I can have a better understanding of what their needs
So
are.
I understand you're right, and if I'm not, I apologize, I'm trying to
description.
catch up, but we're working on a job description with them right now, is that what you were,
Mhm.
that's what I was gonna say, yes. So we've been doing a lot of visioning, and then beyond that, trying to get a lot of practical things in place so they can, and that's why I stepped into to just cover, to be a resource for them, so they can hit the ground running, that we get a staff person that's gonna serve their needs this time, that they're ready to go and start charging, because they're very excited and very motivated to work on these things, and they'll be ready to go come January 1, so. I will bring that forward as soon as we have it, and that's something we're developing.
So in the budget, you got 2 line items, or 2 different columns, requested and proposed. What page, Page 17 of the line item. So it looks like in the proposed, you're counting that as a contract position, and in the requested or required, I'm not sure, that is an employment position, because you have benefits and salary, 33,000. Am I looking at that right?
Which you're on 17, and you're at,
16, 17 opening, yeah.
so on 16, I see personnel benefits under cultural commission. That was original requested, and it's been zeroed out to proposed as 0, and all the money was consolidated under event support services. So you read it correctly.
Okay,
Yeah.
so one is if we contract.
What we're saying is that's the max contribution that we have, and if it winds up being somebody in-house that winds up filling that role for that FTE allocation based off of dollars, it'll be that money, or if it's contracted, it will still be that amount of money. That's how much money we have to give to work with a body to help the DCC.
And then what is the revenue picture projecting? If they, are they just too early to tell of what the impact would be in 2018? What's in the community and revenue-wise from their event that they do put on?
The events don't generate.
Projected donations, or maybe what were their donations this year?
So this,
Sponsorships and.
right, so I can give you what we have to date, which is, and not all these are collected on yet, which is something else we're trying to streamline. But on Summer Stage, again, it's close to $12,000 in revenue, so that offsets the cost of that event. And then the other event, which is not run through the city at this point, for a lot of accounting reasons that make it a lot better of an effort to not run it through the city, is the Raise the Stage effort. But it's still intimately linked, at least in my view, unless someone in the DCC wants to correct me, but I believe it is intimately linked. So they have raised or secured, I guess that was cast before she left, the $40,000 full coaching grant. So the DCC has raised $15,397 through their GoFundMe account for the purchase of the stage. That they consider that as their financial contribution of revenue. $1,000 from their Cocopelli Garden event, $7,000 from their Austin Jex event, and about $1,000 in cash donations through the Summer Stage series. So they're about $26,000 that has not been transferred to the city yet, but that's what they're raising to support what they see as the biggest tool the city has is the purchase of the new stage. And so our stage is literally just, it's failing. I think the Lens did a phenomenal job, but it's really at the end of its life. And the 2 digital stages we know of in the valley take about 30 minutes to set up, and ours is literally a 5-hour exercise. So just from that standpoint of long-term, sustainability of that, they were raised $26,000, again, dedicated towards, at this point, the purchase of a stage. And then as far as community organizations, if you count their contribution, Rotary is about $2,300 into sponsorship and $1,000 in local grants from business owners towards the purchase of the stage. So that, all that money has been raised by them, but again, they're saying this is funneled and it's kept outside right now, but it's going towards the stage purchase. I don't know if that helps answer your
Yeah,
question.
no, that helps a lot on the stage piece, but then on the actual operations of the DCC, we still have a $43,000
Yeah, so this year,
expense.
yeah, this year $12,000 roughly, and I don't have the final number, is what they raised in fundraising.
Because we keep talking about sustainability, getting that group sustainable, but we rarely ever see what income they raise.
Yeah,
So
so
not, it doesn't necessarily have to be one-to-one, because some of the things are gonna.
yeah, so $12,000 was fundraising, $2,500 went off the books that we used to support the Art and Wine Walk, and $3,000 went off the books that we used to support the summer guide. So they've made good progress, we tried to track that. And they realize that I had some very frank budget discussions with them, and they realize that they have to continue to push the envelope.
Okay.
I think they're really on board with the RFP. But the main stage, I know what deal was struck in the past, because it included physical renovation of the stage, plus a small in-kind cash for 4 years.
Sorry, we're all seeing the Port Culture grant's 10,000, which is our revenue source.
The second grant, they're not sure, the first.
No, every year.
Every year.
Oh,
Sustained
yeah,
support.
every year they
Every
do.
year we get a $10,000 grant from Fort Culture, I forgot about that.
Where was I going with that? Sorry, I saw my hand signs. Yeah,
So to answer your question, Scott, the budget has decreased over time of what the actual total outlay of dollars the city has put out, either by their increased fundraising or by certain events going off the books.
And you're just redeploying the money in this budget. It's the same budget, but you're just redeploying it to different things because they keep taking things off the books. And I understood that as a mission. Take some things off the books and make it sustainable, but continue to grow new things was what I had been telling them, that's what I understood. I'm sorry, Mr. Nicky.
I just have a comment that over the years, seeing this group and what they've given to our community has been so beneficial. I feel they're very good value and investment for us and what they provide. So I'm liking how they progress so far and where we're going with them.
Can you tell me what the total cost of the stage is?
Yes, I can. Well, as of today, I can tell you, and this is the full loaded original quote. So
This is what Monroe bought.
this is what Monroe bought. And we have, so I have their quote and I have, I'll see if they align. I have a quote that I was
Get the
given
ones from management.
through the fundraising packet from Cass.
No.
120? Something like
The
that.
same.
Oh,
Might be.
you said that,
It's like the price of like a car these days.
Does it include
Okay.
taxes or?
Somebody said earlier that'd be cheap for $5. That's their benefit.
So yes, the bare bones stage with freight and handling and delivery and tax, the one that the DCC spec'd out, was at $128,000. And the competitive quote from the same company that Monroe just spent was $145,000. So they spec'd out a little different package. But the DCC's quote, which was only valid for 60 days, it was $128,000. So it's within the scheme that they outlined in their proposed budget. They were proposing to raise $137,000 is what their target fundraising is when we add all the money together. There's $137,000.
Where are we at now total with grants and all contributions?
On the stage, so $40,000 from For Culture, $15,600 from the GoFundMe, and these numbers are from 8/1, so they could have changed. $1,000 from the Pocatelli Gardens fundraising, $7,000 from the Austin, I'm rounding up to the nearest dollar, $7,000 from the Austin Jenks concert, $800 to $1,000, excuse me, in cash from the donation box, $1,200 from the beer garden, $1,000 in local grants, and then they're also, which you can counter discount at this point, their best research said that our existing stage will be worth $5,000 to somebody. He's gonna put it up and auction off on the market. Somebody somewhere will want to just set up and leave it set up, and it's worth about $5,000 is what their market research has led to be. So that's sort of the cash mass they have right now.
So the Fort Culture had a requirement that expired at the end of 18 and had to be a 100% match. So if the $40,000 grant had to come up with a $40,000 match. Didn't matter where it came from, but in my discussions with Cass, they were candidly expecting it to come from the city because they can only raise so much. They wanted to raise the money above the $80,000 because they couldn't come up with the 40 plus the rest. The sense I got in talking with her, if the city is willing to make the commitment of $40,000, which would be my recommendation, they sense that they're going to be able to do some additional fundraising because they're going to know they're that much closer then. Because right now they're only at roughly 40%, Jason, is that
What
right?
about, what, 70,000? He's faster at math than me, but, so we have, all in, rounding it to maybe 140, about another 70 to go.
Right.
When does the grant expire?
So
December
we've
31st.
got a year,
Next.
15 months.
Well,
Third was December. I can double check, but I always operate on the December assumption.
Oh, I thought it was.
So what is the plan to incentivize fundraising or that issue? Is that something that DCC is working on?
So DCC is working on, it's what we tried to partner with whenever we could this summer every night we made sure someone physically walked the cash box around or had it by the exit. And just trying to help, DCC's coming up with new concert and support ideas. I think in fairness, what we need to tell them are two things. If the $40,000 is the ceiling, which that's my understanding it is, that's all the resources we have to contribute, and they'd like to know that they can count on the roughly $5,000 or whatever the proceeds are from the sale of the existing stage. I think that's what they want to know from the city at this point. And the group, the funders group needs to know from the city. At 40,000 from Rick's the ceiling, and 5,000 or whatever they can get for the old stage could be used to purchase the new stage.
And who owns the stage? What's its purchase?
City does that.
City.
Yeah, it'll be a city asset.
Would we be able to rent it out to other groups at that point if we have a new one, or is there any other
I suppose you could, yeah.
standard
It's like any other,
uses of new stage?
it's like any other resource, I suppose you could run it out as long as you, make sure you have the right agreement in place. And I think the other piece to that is gonna be trying to get a handle on, and see what kind of proposals we get back for main stage sponsorship. You know, I don't know the marketplace, I've called and emailed 20 different cities that have something very similar, and they sell the sponsorship, that's how we're modeling that RFP. And it's just all over the board as far as, some organizations are getting 10 to 20 grand a year, some are getting, 5, so we're trying to figure out how we sell the most value out of that branded stage.
Will we do the RFP before the purchase?
Oh, yes.
So my goal is to roll that out to you again at the next council meeting to get it moving, because the current sponsorship ends November 31st of this year. And so I would hate to miss the opportunity, a month or two is not gonna matter, but I'd hate to miss the opportunity on lost revenue that we'll never get back for stage sponsorship opportunity to get someone locked in. The way the contract is proposed, it's 3 years and it's per calendar year. So in the best case scenario, it's written in already, it says, hey, what we have now is what we have. This is the stage we have, but you're gonna be at Summer Stage, you're gonna be at Duvall Day, you're gonna be at the Holiday Lighting, you're gonna be at Sandhouse, because that's what the stage is, it's out there. Plus other events, so, how do we translate, when you translate that into value, that's the proposal we're making, is how much value is assigned, that cash value, not in kind, not we're sending you a cash contribution to the effort. And then if it transitions to, everything goes well, we buy the new stage, then that would transfer to that new stage for the remainder for that 2-year period. So we're selling all we have is all we have, either way, and if we're successful in this effort and they're successful in fundraising, then that sponsorship would transition over for those remaining 2 years, because we would get this stage till the end of this, be almost 19 by the time we got it. And then you re-RFP every two or 3 years. I didn't want to go longer than that. I think things start to get stale.
Yeah, I would do it annually.
What did the last one end up being?
It was $10,000 over 3 years, 5,000 in cash and 5,000 in fares.
Yeah.
Oh, I see, okay, I got that.
Yeah.
What about partnering with the school district?
Sure.
I mean,
I'm
I'm
sure.
wondering what they could use the stage
Sure,
for.
we'll partner with anybody.
I know, or Carnation, I mean, really, think about
Yeah.
partnerships that way. Also, I'll bring that up later, but talking about sustainability, the Dory House, I still think it's gotta be used for more than what it's used for the amount of maintenance and utilities we're getting. It's dead quiet every time. I just turn that thing into
So we had those real robust discussions with the historical group, it's about a year ago. And there's some big transition plans behind the scenes, and they had just developed a new kind of visioning and capital plan.
Okay.
I don't know, because the details weren't entirely shared with me, and I don't want to speak out of school.
Okay,
but
as
there
long
was
as
some-
I know
there were some
something's
ties
going.
to Ray Buren's commitment to the historical group
Okay.
that are being articulated through the family trust and will.
Okay.
So they've got a wonderful plan. There were some amazingly smart people on the board that are now working with the Doherty House with a
Okay.
huge vision for, to our point we talked last year, hey, let's rent it out for, historical reenactments, or let's, what can you guys do to make it living history all the time? They're very receptive to that.
Okay.
And there's a few puzzle pieces I think that they were waiting on to get into place, and finances that I think they're expecting to help. I'm just trying to answer
happy
the
with
question
that.
without speaking on stuff that I don't know about.
I'm absolutely happy
Other
with
than what I've
that.
been told in a couple of meetings, but I don't have any documentation to that effect.
I'll call a couple people
So,
from
yeah,
that.
yeah. So I think that they're on board with that. It's just gonna be a little bit of time. We're getting closer.
One last point on the services or the employment, whichever route we go. I think, but I feel not knowing what the full plan is for 2018, what we'd get out of that. We've done this in the past, and I can't think of the term, but basically lock those funds until we know what the plan is, and then.
No, it's called a budget note. We put forward
Yeah.
budget notes.
I would feel comfortable doing that, just because we don't have a full plan, we don't know. I mean, we have some past track record,
Sure.
but with a lot of new moving parts, I think to be good stewards of public money, I think that would be.
So on the salary piece is what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
you put a budget
And have
note.
a budget note drafted, I'm pointing at you, that says the express purpose of that is
Yeah.
for, and that you should, were to be proposed to be changed, bring it back to council, right? Is that what you're?
Or not necessarily release those funds until we know what the plan is.
Right, correct. Okay, yes, no, I think that's completely, a responsible thing to do and totally appropriate.
So again, my last comment on this would be just for us, I guess, to think about that, we talk about economic development and when we're looking at economic development. And so far I've counted, 40 grand for this, 40 grand for the stage, the downtown sidewalks that we're not recouping, costs on. So I think looking at those as some of our economic development that we've already done, I guess, just ask you to remember that when we start talking about what we're planning to do next year, so, and how we weigh what economic development